Top things from my head, number one, are not practicing it and not being genuine, right? Like for me, Cameron's always like, video, like, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like, that's so offensive. There's two of me. And one of them is not very cool. I think overthinking it is a big thing. And then not being clear on what the goal of the content is.
Yes.
Yeah, which is just like and trust. So I think it's those three things.
And if you had, for me, what I think people, when they try to do the work, they just do it to get it done and they don't have any like strategic thinking about where it's going.
Yeah.
So my number one thing is always stop talking about yourself. Stop talking about yourself.
Yeah, because nobody really cares. I think that's a fair point. I think back to that first video I did on my back porch, which we have a blooper reel on. And it was like a 15-minute video, not even 5 minutes. I don't know, but
the blooper reel or the actual video?
Video when it was edited.
Yes, it was about 4 minutes.
And it took me all day because I was so in my head about it, and I wanted to get it right. I wanted to make it perfect. And I think that's where people start when they think about video and think about content. They're just so afraid to get it wrong that I think internally they're concerned about what other people would think about it.
Right. And we did a 411 calendar a while back to try and give topics of which
were great topics.
Yeah.
Even just a real estate update once a month. Here's how many listings, here's how many sold, right? Here's how many are pending. Every month.
Helpful information. I used to tell people all the time, like, whatever your clients ask, if you're during a presentation talking about why they should use you or whatever questions you're getting, if they're common, what we take is like, hey, everybody probably knows this, so I shouldn't record myself talking about this, but it's not common knowledge.
It's not specialized knowledge that you have about that industry, about that topic, about that business, and you should definitely make sure to make a point of putting that out there, because most people are thinking just that, like, oh, everybody knows this, everybody understands this, everybody knows about broker disclosure and different relationships and things of that nature as far as real estate is concerned. And so for me, I think again, having the goal in mind of what you're trying to accomplish is huge. Most people do business with people they like.
Yep.
People like people who are like them or who they'd like to be like. And the more time they spend with you, the more they're going to like you. Like, how many people do we in our mind have a relationship with and think that we know? You know? Yeah. Cindy was just talking about going to see The Rock is going to be there. And who else did she say? And like, is that even cool?
Right.
You're going to find out. Maybe they're not a nice guy. You think you know that person, but you don't. And you feel like you have that relationship. And I think in real estate, it's really easy to gain that and do that because so few people are, even today,
Yes. And in real estate specifically, like, it's a lot more fun to work with people that actually you jive with on a personal level.
Yeah.
So I was talking to a real estate agent in Chicago a long time ago, and he was just talking about his brand. He was like, I'm a stand-up comedian. And he was like, I want to bring more of the jokey stuff and like funny stuff into my marketing, but I don't know if it's a good idea. And I was like, first off, you're in Chicago where 1% market share could get you retired pretty quickly, right? So you don't need to work with every single person. Right. But if you put out stuff that's true to yourself, first off, it's going to be it's going to be more authentic, obviously, but it's going to hit better because it's just you being you. You're not trying to be something that you're not. If you don't wear a suit every single day, don't record video wearing a suit. Like, that's just disingenuous, and it will come off that way. 100%. So be you. If you're funny, be funny. If you're weird, be weird. You know what I mean? And it'll help you attract more people that are like, I like that guy.
Yeah, I think giving yourself the subconscious permission to be yourself. They talk about having a line and being polarizing a lot of times when you're talking about being a charismatic character.
Right.
And I think that's okay too, to an extent. If you're a Christian, don't be shy about that. If you're a Republican or a Democrat, don't be shy about that. You're going to attract the people who are going to be most likely to like you and do business with you. And don't worry about repelling the other people. You can't please everybody. Like, I'll have ads out with me on video. You know what I mean? Like, some of the content, just if I didn't have thick skin, they really go to great lengths to try to be hurtful as much as possible. But what I think is, like, what kind of a loser is sitting there on the internet, right? Flipping through and it's like, oh, I'm going to say the most hurtful thing that comes to my mind to this person I've never met before. I feel sorry for them when they do that, right? Like, I'm not letting it reflect on me at all. I could care less. Like, I never met them, don't know anything about them. I know that they're probably have they probably have a mental issue.
There's something going on.
Be successful, and that's the other thing that I really love too. Like, I should probably blame that guy. People who are doing more than you will never be criticizing them. You know,
so
that's just the fact. So you gotta get that out of the way. And I think especially when it comes to video and real estate in general, like one of the big hurdles that people have to get over is the ability to put themselves out there and perhaps not be liked by other people, right? And so, think about it. Like all of the ads, you got to put your face out there. If you fail, it's public failure. But who cares, right? The only people that you're worried about are the people who are too scared to try that in the first place. And because they're too scared to try, they're never going to have the success that you could have if you just got over that. So I think it's like one of the big mental hurdles I had to get over anyway.
Yeah.
And especially with video, just I think that people, if they right now, I saw Chad is doing a 30-day video challenge where he's going live every day for 30 days.
Yep. And
I love Chad. But some of the first ones were really painful to watch. But he's getting more comfortable now, and he's getting better. And that's what it takes. When I first started Inner Circle Brunson's mastermind, that's what they said. They said, go live every day, every day, every day. After 180 days, you're going to be really good at this, and you're going to start to find your voice. I still think that's really true today.
Yeah.
And people stop.
And it's crazy because like the people that are crushing the content game right now, like when I hear how many times they post a day, like they know that, like especially on Facebook, Instagram, like those are just like temporary. Like those stay up on the feed for a little bit, and then you can go to someone's wall and go back. Like, but no one really does that. So it's like it's temporary. So which is why they post. Yeah.
It's like walking by you at the water cooler. You get to say something real quick.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, that guy.
That is all it is. And so, like, you're going to have things, but somebody was talking one time about, it was like they telling a story at a bar, and they were getting really angry about something. And the guy sitting next to him was like, why do you let other people have so much power over you? And it's like this big aha moment, you know, that just the story helped me of like, like it's just a framework that I use now of like that random dude in whatever. There was one comment when we were doing lives all the time that I was wearing a suit coat that I really enjoyed. You know what I mean? And this lady was like, "Where did you get that? A thrift store piece of shit jacket?" You know what I mean? And I was like, "What? Like, what did I do? Like, why are you so mad at me?" You know what I mean? Like,
she's mad at herself,
right? But I just remember that was the first like really like. And it has stuck with me, obviously. But that was the first like really ugly comment I ever got on anything. That was like not just like whatever.
Was this online or in person?
Yeah, no, it was online. It was on Facebook or whatever. But it was like initial kind of shock or whatever. But then I was like, write it down on a napkin, sitting at a bar. I'm not that guy. It wasn't my story. But like, yeah, like that random lady in Pennsylvania. I remember that part. Doesn't have the power over me to make me feel bad about myself or my choices or whatever. Like you can never let those people ever influence what you're going to do or how you think or whatever. Like you just got to go for it.
Well, that's the thing too. I think a lot of times people are like, well, it's my brand. You know, my brand has to be like this. My brand has to be like that. My brand can't have fake ugly sunglasses on my thumbnail. And the reality is like, nobody cares. Nobody cares about your silly brand that's not even out there unless you freaking get it out there.
Right.
And then if you get it out there and you do it in a way that's genuine to you, you know, it's going to be good. It's going to have an overall positive impact. A big thing that I had recently was I was talking about, you know, we use like my origin story from time to time. And I was talking to a coach that I had about it. And I was like, yeah, you know, I don't like to talk about some of those things because it feels like I'm not being modest or humble. And she was like, oh, that's just your ego. And I was like, I think it's the opposite of my ego because I'm trying to be modest and humble. She said, no. She said, you want to be modest and humble and not talk about those successes and wins you had because you're afraid of how people will perceive you and you don't want them to perceive you as somebody who's arrogant or pompous. And I was like, ooh, that one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like most people are afraid to get started because they're like, I don't have a story. I don't have success. But even when you do have a story and some success, then it's still like the debilitating story that you're telling yourself of why you shouldn't talk about this or you shouldn't do that or you shouldn't get yourself out there. And I was giving a presentation one time to a big group over in the UK of real estate agents. And I was talking about this and they were shocked. They're like, what? we thought all Americans only wanted themselves on billboards and TV ads." And I was like, no, it's a hard thing to get over, to put yourself out there like that. And it just comes with repetition.
Yeah.
And again, knowing the goal. I think that the goal for a lot of people, as far as especially video and content is concerned, is to get leads. And that's the wrong damn goal. That goal is going to flop. You have to do it to build relationships. And the best analogy that we ever got of that was the leads and the people you have in your database are subscribers to your radio station.
Mhm.
So the more that you're able to get them to tune in, the more that you're able to engage, the more that you get brand consciousness, top of mind consciousness, like trust, right? Like all those things. So that maybe they didn't do business with you last time, but next time they will, or maybe they'll never do business with you. They can't buy a house, but their rich uncle can. And when he's like, I'm going to sell my house. Oh, you got to call this guy. I'll watch his stuff all the time. He's really knowledgeable, right? Like that's the goal.
Yep.
Is to continue to build the relationship.
And impressions. And in today's very clouded world that we live in, where every single thing you use almost on a daily basis is just advertisement after advertisement after advertisement, whether it's
10,000 a day.
It's insane.
It is.
So somebody was telling me one time that sells a bunch of real estate. If you have 100 listings, you carry 100 listings at a time? So like there's some people we know carry 100 listings, couple hundred listings at a time, which is crazy. But if you could do that all within like a 5-mile radius of each other, you would have so much signage out there.
Saturation.
Yeah. That you inevitably, one of our friends had 100% market share at his like lake community or whatever. Yeah. Like he sponsors the fireworks show. Like you can't be in his little lake community without knowing.
As a competitor.
No.
It's not happening.
Not gonna happen. So he was on a TV show, like he's literally everywhere. But it's like, how can you hit him land, air, sea, space and just stay in there?
That's the thing.
Pumping your brand in front.
You just got to put it in your calendar, and you got to do it. And you got to be consistent. We've had for years. You don't like that one?
What'd you say?
Oh, yeah. You got to put it in your calendar. And you got
to. Oh, that was the joke. Yeah, I got it.
I'm really proud of our track record because we had that podcast for how many years, and we were just consistent. At first it was shaky. At first it was probably not the best, but then we got into a rhythm, we got into a groove, and then we got a lot of downloads from it.